On Thanksgiving Day, my nephew pointed at my daughter and said, "Mom, you're the loser's daughter." Everyone laughed. I took my daughter's hand and we left without saying a word. That night my father texted me, "Don't forget to send the money tomorrow." I smiled. My name is Andres. I'm 34 years old and I'm a plumber. Sounds simple, right? But to my family, it's like I've chosen to be the king of losers. I live in a small apartment with my daughter Isabella, who is now 8 years old. She's the only thing I have left of Bianca, my wife, who died in a car accident when Isabella was just 4. That day, my world fell apart. Bianca was everything to me, my partner, my laugh, my strength. She came from a poor neighborhood, worked in a clothing store, and dreamed of opening her own business one day. I met her in high school when I was a kid fixing pipes in her parents' house for a couple of bucks. We fell in love quickly, got married young, and had Isabella. Life wasn't perfect, but it was ours. Ever since Bianca left, I've been raising Isabella. I only work 6 days a week, from 7 in the morning until sunset. I fix leaks, install new toilets, unclog drains that no one wants to touch. I earn enough to pay for rent, food, Isabella's school, and, well, much more. Almost everything left over goes to transfers to my parents and my sister Erica. In 2 years I've sent close to $40,000. Medical bills from my father Francisco, who says his back can't take it. Private school fees for Alex, Erica's son, which cost $28,000 a year. The mortgage on the big house where my parents, Marta and Francisco, live. And even whims like trips to the beach or designer clothes for Erica. They used up their retirement on bad investments, stocks that promised gold and turned out to be crap. But I don't say anything. I'm the son who helps the family, even though they see me as the loser who chose a manual trade instead of a career in an office with a suit and tie. My parents always criticized me for that. My dad wanted me to be a lawyer or an engineer, something prestigious. Quote, "Andres, with your intelligence you could be in an office, not with dirty hands," he always said. My mother Marta felt that Bianca was not on our level. She said that she came from simple people and that I had lowered the family status by marrying her. After her death it was worse. Poor Andres, he couldn't even keep his wife alive. They said behind my back as if the accident had been my fault. A truck that ran a red light. That was all, but for them it was more proof of my failure as a man. Eric, my younger sister, is the same or worse. She is 30 years old. She is married to a guy named Pablo, who works in sales and spends more than he earns. They have Alex, a 9-year-old boy who is spoiled to the point of exhaustion. Erica lives for appearances, big house, new car, vacations at resorts, but they pay for everything with my money. Basically, she joins in the family bullying as if it were a sport. "Look, Andres, the eternal plumber. At least I chose well," she says, laughing, and Alex, poor kid, repeats what he hears at home. I still go to family gatherings for Isabella, mainly. I want her to have grandparents, uncles, cousins, even though it hurts. This year's Thanksgiving was at my parents' house, a 3-story mansion in a decent neighborhood, paid for with a mortgage that I help cover. I arrived with Isabella, dressed in her best sweater, the one Bianca had bought her before she died. I brought a pumpkin pie that I had baked the night before, working late after a full day in a building with broken pipes. The house smelled like roast turkey, mashed potatoes, and that cinnamon scent that my mother puts on everything. There were about 15 people, my parents, Erica with Pablo and Alex, some distant uncles, cousins, all sitting around a long table with a white tablecloth and candles. Isabella sat next to me, squeezing my hand under the table. She's shy, but smart. She gets top grades in her public school, plays soccer like a pro, potential professional, and smiles with that little face that reminds me of Bianca every day. Dinner started well. Talk about Pablo's job, Alex's perfect grades at his private school, my parents' plans to remodel the kitchen. Another expense I would cover, for sure. I ate in silence, passing the bread to Isabella, quietly telling her about the turkey I had seen in a YouTube video. But then Alex, sitting across from her, looked at Isabella and blurted out, "Isabella, Mom says you're the loser's daughter and that your dad couldn't keep your mom alive." Silence fell for a second and then laughter. The whole table erupted in laughter. My dad let out a loud laugh. My mom covered her mouth, but she couldn't help but laugh. Erica feigned surprise, but her eyes sparkled with mischief. Pablo slapped the table. Even distant uncles joined in as if this were the joke of the year. Isabella squeezed my hand so hard it hurt. I saw her eyes fill with tears, her lips quivered. She was just a little girl, she didn't quite understand, but she felt the poison. My heart shattered inside me, into pieces. I wanted to scream, to defend her, but the words got stuck. Instead, I stood up slowly, took Isabella's hand and said, "Nothing, I just walked to the door." Quote. She followed me with her half-eaten plate of food. We headed out into the cold night. The car was parked 2 blocks away because my parents' garage was full of their new cars. Isabella didn't say anything on the way, just whispered softly. I hugged her tight before getting in the car. "Everything's going to be okay, my love. Dad loves you more than anything." I drove home in silence with the radio off. Our apartment is small, 2 bedrooms, a kitchen that barely fits a table, a bathroom with a shower that sometimes leaks, ironic, being a plumber, but it's ours. Isabella went straight to her room, curled up on the bed with her teddy bear, the one Bianca gave her. I sat in the living room staring at the phone. I wanted to call someone, but who? My family was all I had, besides Isabella. Then the phone rang. A message from my dad. "Don't forget to send the money tomorrow. Alex's school fees are due and we need to pay for the mortgage." I smiled not with joy, but with something darker. A smile that said, "Enough is enough." I didn't respond to the message. I turned off the phone and left it on the table like an unlocked grenade. Isabella slept in her room with the door ajar. The light from the hallway cast a stripe across her teddy bear. I sat there until the clock struck 2 a.m., going over each accumulated insult as if they were leaks I could no longer plug. The next morning I woke her up with pancakes and orange juice. I told her she wouldn't go to school that day, that we would do something special. Her eyes lit up, but she still had that shadow from the night before. "Dad, why did they laugh at me?" she asked as she chewed. I explained to her as best I could that sometimes adults say mean things because they're sad about themselves. I didn't tell her the whole truth, not yet. I called my boss at the plumbing company and asked for the day off. "Family," I said, and he didn't ask any more questions. We set off in the old car with the windows down and the radio playing, which Isabella sang along to halfway. We stopped at a park we'd never been to before. There were rusty swings and a duck pond. We bought stale bread at a small store and fed the animals. Isabella laughed every time a duck pecked at her fingers. For a while, the world was just the 2 of us. At noon, my phone rang. "Erica," I ignored it. Then my mom ignored it. My dad sent another message. "Andres, don't be a child. Send the money before 3 or Alex's school will expel him." I read it aloud to myself and let out a dry laugh. Isabella looked at me curiously. "Nothing, love. Adult things." I decided it was time. I called Grandma Anna. She answered on the first ring as if she had been waiting. "Come on, son. Get the girl." Her voice had that firm tone that brooks no argument. We arrived at her house at 2 in the afternoon. Anna opened the door, wearing an apron and smelling of freshly brewed coffee. Isabella ran to hug her. Grandma always keeps oatmeal cookies in a glass jar. We sat in the small kitchen with its worn wooden table and old photos on the walls. Anna poured coffee for me and chocolate milk for Isabella. "Tell me everything again," Anna said. I repeated dinner word for word. Isabella added details. How Alex had made an ugly face, how Grandma Marta had laughed, covering her mouth with a napkin. Anna listened without blinking, her knuckles whitening around the cup. When I finished, Anna opened a drawer and took out a thick envelope. "This has been yours for years, Andres. The house on Roble Street, 3 rooms, garden, paid for in cash. I bought it when Bianca was pregnant, thinking I would give it away on Isabella's 5th birthday. But the time never came until today. I opened the envelope. The deed had my name on it. The address was 4 blocks from Isabella's school. I felt the air escape from my chest. What? I worked double shifts for 40 years, son. Every penny saved. Your parents know it existed, but I never told them where. They thought it was a vacant lot. He smiled mischievously. We cut everything off today. I called my lawyer. Joint accounts closed. Escrow canceled. Automatic payments stopped. As of this second, Marta, Francisco, and Erica are alone. Isabella didn't quite understand, but she saw my face and clapped. We're going to have a big house, Dad. Anna pulled out another piece of paper. And this is a temporary restraining order. If Erica comes within 100 meters of the girl's uncle, she's going to jail. I already talked to the judge, he's a friend from high school. We left there with the envelope under our arms and our hearts beating fast. We stopped at an ice cream shop on the way. Isabella chose strawberry with sprinkles. I didn't eat a bite, my head was spinning. We arrived at the apartment at dusk. I packed the essentials in 2 suitcases, clothes, photos, Bianca's, Isabella's teddy bear, my basic tools. I left the rest. I didn't want anything that smelled of that old life. At 7 the doorbell rang. I looked through the peephole, Erica, alone, with disheveled hair and red eyes. She knocked hard. Andres, open the door. We need to talk. Isabella got scared and hid behind me. I called the police on my cell phone. They arrived in 7 minutes. Erica screamed that she was family, that I couldn't do this to them. The officer explained the restraining order. They took her away in handcuffs while she kicked. That night we slept at Anna's house. Isabella on the sofa bed, me on the floor with a blanket. Before going to sleep, Anna showed me the new will. Everything for me and Isabella. Not a penny for the others, she said. I closed my eyes and for the first time in years I slept without having bad dreams. The next day the mass messages began. My dad, this is ridiculous. Give the money back. My mom, think about your nephew. Erica, from the police station. They're taking Alex out of school. I ignored them all. I went to the bank and opened a new account in my name only. I transferred what was left of my savings. Then I called my boss. I quit. I'm starting my own company. I hung up before he could answer. The house on Oak Street was waiting for us with the keys in the door. We went inside at dusk. It smelled of fresh paint and possibility. Isabella ran through the empty rooms shouting echoes. I stayed in the kitchen looking out the window at the garden. There I would plant tomatoes like Bianca always wanted, but the drama wasn't over. That same week the letter from the bank arrived, impending foreclosure on my parents' house. Erica lost the car. Ellen claimed it. Pablo filed for divorce on WhatsApp and Alex, poor Alex, was transferred to a public school in the middle of the term. In the meantime, we painted Isabella's room purple. We bought a puppy from the shelter, a black Labrador that Isabella named Pavo in honor of the dinner. Fateful. Life was starting to taste different. The first weekend in the new house we dedicated to making ours. Isabella and I went to the hardware store in the old van. We loaded up cans of paint, rollers, tape, and a bunch of dreams. She chose a deep purple for her room, like the flowers Mom put on the table. She said, I didn't argue. We spent the entire Saturday with loud music, splashed with paint, and laughing every time Pavo would get in between the paintbrushes and come out with purple glue. By evening, the room was sparkling. Fresh walls, a new bed we'd assembled together, and a poster of his favorite football team proudly plastered on it. On Sunday, we planted tomatoes. I dug the soil in the backyard while Isabella watered it with a hose that got tangled around her feet. Pavo ran after the drops, nibbling at the water as if it were a game. Anna arrived with a box of seeds and a homemade apple pie to celebrate independence, she said, and we sat on the porch eating as the sun went down. We talked about everything and nothing, about how Isabella wanted a swing set, about my plans for the plumbing company, about the neighborhood gossip that Anna knew better than anyone. The next few days were a whirlwind. I registered Fontaneria Andres y Hija with the City Hall. Isabella insisted on her name being there if only for fun. I printed simple cards, my name, new phone number, a wrench and flower logo. I started small, neighbors, friends from Isabella's school, word-of-mouth recommendations. The first customer was Mrs. Lopez from next door with a leak in her sink. I charged fairly, worked fast, and left everything spotless. When she left, she gave me an envelope with a tip and the phone number of her sister-in-law who needed all the plumbing in her restaurant replaced. That's how the snowballing began. While my life was going up, my parents and Erica's were going downhill. I got a certified letter from the bank. The big house went bankrupt. My parents tried to fight it in court, claiming a clerical error, but evidence of the transfers I'd made over the years showed they couldn't afford it without me. The judge was clear. Live within your means. They moved into a 2-bedroom apartment in a modest neighborhood, the same kind of place I'd lived my whole life. My dad got a job as a night security guard. My mom cleaned offices at night, mornings. None of them spoke to me directly, but Anna took the complaints. Andres abandoned us. He is cruel to his own blood. Anna would hang up without saying goodbye. Erica was the toughest case. After Pablo was arrested for violating the restraining order, he filed for divorce. In the papers he cited irresponsible behavior and asked for sole custody of Alex. Erica fought back with child support demands, but since Pablo earned less and she had no steady job, the judge granted her joint custody and forced her to find work. She ended up as a cashier at a supermarket, 8-hour shifts on her feet. Alex went from private school to the neighborhood public school. The first day he cried because he didn't know anyone. Erica tried to get close to me again, leaving notes in the mailbox. For Alex, help us. I threw them away unopened. A month after we moved, Isabella turned 9. We had a simple party in the garden, balloons, homemade pizza, chocolate cake. We invited her soccer teammates and Anna, who brought a gift wrapped in newspaper, a professional ball signed by a famous player he knew from his time at the factory. Isabella screamed with excitement. Pavo ate an entire slice of pizza and napped under the table. That night, as I put her to bed, he said to me, "Dad, this is the best house in the world." I kissed his forehead and knew all the pain had been worth it. The business grew quickly. I hired Luis, a former high school classmate who had just gotten out of the military and needed steady work. I taught him the ropes. He brought discipline and drive. Soon we had 2 branded vans, full schedules, and repeat customers. I opened a savings account for Isabella University and another for emergencies. For the first time, money came in and stayed. One Saturday in the spring, 6 months after the fateful dinner, I got an unexpected call. It was Alex. His voice was small on the other end. "Uncle Andres, can I come over to your house? Mom is working and Dad isn't answering." Erica had left him with a neighbor, but the woman had to go out. I hesitated for a second, but Isabel heard her and said, "Let him come over. We can play with Pavo." I picked him up at the corner. He was carrying an old backpack and his eyes downcast. He didn't say much in the car, but when he saw the new house, his face lit up. Isabella took him straight to the garden. In 10 minutes, they were running after the dog, laughing as if nothing had happened. I let them play while I made sandwiches. Alex came over shyly. "What I said at dinner, Mom made me. I'm sorry." I put a hand on his shoulder. "It's over, champ. Today it starts again." We ate on the porch. Anna arrived with more cookies and stayed to watch Isabella's soccer game. That afternoon, Alex sat in the bleachers with us, cheering every goal as if it were his own. Erica showed up at the end of the game, dressed in her supermarket uniform and with dark circles under her eyes. She saw Alex happy and stood at the door of the car without getting out. I stared at her. If you want to see him, coordinate with me. No yelling or drama. She nodded. Her eyes were moist. She left without saying anything else. Exactly 1 year after Thanksgiving. Thank you. I organized a dinner at our house. Just the 4 of us, Anna, Isabella, Pavo, and me. Roast turkey, bought, not married, mashed potatoes, pumpkin pie. Isabella set the table with paper napkins and drawings she had drawn in school. Our new family. Anna updated the will that same week, the house where we lived, her savings, everything for Isabella and me. Quote, so that they will never depend on anyone again, she said. We toasted with apple juice. Isabella raised her glass to Dad, who is the best plumber and the best dad. Anna added, and to Bianca, who looks down on us. Pavo barked in approval. That night, as I washed the dishes, I looked out the window at the garden. The tomatoes were growing strong, red, and juicy. Isabella and Pavo slept on the couch, exhausted from playing so much. I smiled, this time with pure joy. We had lost a toxic family, but gained a real one. My phone buzzed, a new client, an entire school that needed replumbing. I replied, I'll pass the budget tomorrow. Life finally tasted like freedom. Yeah,